Hey everyone, welcome to a very special local election interview. And today we are talking to Auckland's mayoral candidate and councillor, Kerrin Leoni. Kerrin Leoni has been in the Auckland Council for some time, as you know, and she's been specialising in council-controlled organisation. She's now in the race for the mayoralty, and the voting has already commenced and it closes on the 11th of October. So do get out there and make sure you vote in your local elections because they're on right now. And who becomes the mayor of Auckland really does matter. Hey, Kerrin, and
Hi,
welcome back to G News.
thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Kerrin, we're just going to start with a couple of the big questions, and those are why should Aucklanders come out and vote for you instead of the incumbent?
Hmm. Well, look, Gerard, I think it's time for change in our city. We know that the incumbent has talked about fixing Auckland, and a lot of Aucklanders are not happy with what he has actually fixed. They haven't seen the outcome of that. And I'm really asking Aucklanders to not just go with the incumbent because of name recognition or the fact that he's in every single newspaper, but to do your research, to look at the policies and look at who they think is going to be the best person to lead our city over the next 3 years. So, obviously, I would love people to vote for me. Uh, I have got 6 years' experience in council. I've been a deputy chair of a local board and currently a ward councillor. Qualified economist. I've lived and worked overseas and want to bring that experience back here to Auckland and run our amazing city.
Now, Wayne Brown, he sold off the shares that Auckland had in the airport. And when it comes to rates, he's so far increased rates by around about 11% over 2 years, with 7% to go. So something like 17 to 18% in rate increases. You've published a value for money fiscal plan, and in that plan, you promise to cap rates from the second year at or below the rate of inflation. In order to do that and make some cost savings, what areas would you possibly cut back some services, and are you looking at new sources of revenue?
No, that's a good question. And what we are hoping to achieve if I do become mayor is that when I come into office, I'll be opening the books up. I'll be looking at all of our tier one contractors because I believe that there is quite a lot of overspend that is happening in that area. And when you look at each percentage of the rates, it equates to 20 million. So my goal is to save at least 20 million to drop that rate down from 3.5 down to 2.5 in that year to the rate of inflation. And that's how I'm hoping to save us some money is to actually focus on cutting costs on contractors, not taking money away from our services for Aucklanders because we need all of our services to be running, but saving money where we know we can in that contracting space.
When it comes to new revenue tools, are you considering any new revenue tools?
At the moment, the revenue, we are hoping to just continue with the parking and all those areas. I know that's been a concern as well, though, for some Aucklanders around that. The revenue itself is more, there's been an increase with the Ports of Auckland, so we know that that's doing well. But no, our focus is to really save money at the moment in that contracting space.
You've also pledged to save the council $100 million by cutting consultants and bringing more services in-house.
Mhm.
Um, could you tell us which services might not be there anymore? How you'd ensure that there were skills maintained in-house and the service quality maintained?
So, a really good example of that is architects. We know that a lot of architects are contracted to go out and do that work for us. If we can get permanent architects actually working for council, we know that's going to save Aucklanders a lot of money. So, if we can bring a lot of those contractors in house with permanent roles, they'll be there long term. They'll be able to do that for all of the different services across Auckland, and we're not wanting to cut any services at all. We just want to maintain the service, but actually replace those people, the contractors, with permanent workers and save money.
After Wayne Brown sold off those airport shares, you've pledged to protect Auckland's strategic assets. and you'll require a 75% council majority or a referendum for any further sales. So, but how would you define Auckland's strategic assets?
Hmm. I think our biggest strategic asset, obviously, is the Ports of Auckland. And we know that he had put that on the table to lease out last term, and he didn't have the numbers to do that. And so, what I'm proposing is that we increase that vote to 75% to make sure that we retain our one asset, that strategic asset that we have left. We've also got the North Harbour Stadium. We know that that hasn't been bringing in the revenue that we need, but we need to make sure that we come up with some good partnership ideas to continue with that and not sell those assets.
You promise reliable infrastructure that actually works. Can you describe your infrastructure priorities that you intend to fix?
Yeah, so we're really hoping to look at reopening the train line out to Kumiu. We know that there is also a partnership opportunity that we can look at for that rather than having to provide all of the funding for that. If partners want to come to the table and we work with them, I think that's really beneficial for the way that we move forward for Auckland. Obviously, the train line to Pōkeno and electrifying that is really great as well. So those are some of the significant infrastructure projects that we're wanting to look at if I'm able to become Mayor of Auckland.
The city faces significant shortages of new housing, and with population growth outpacing supply, leading to high costs for residents and potential homelessness. How will you make Auckland a place that Aucklanders can afford to live in?
Hmm. Yes, and again, we've had a lot of new developments at the moment where we are looking at the build to rent. So Ockham, we know, has built some flats in Waterview, which has worked out very successfully to be a build to rent program. So we know that those rentals will remain at the same price long term. And we also have some flats available in Point Chev and other parts of Auckland. We need to continue with that. And we've got a goal to work in partnership with developers and central government to try and aim for 10,000 homes. That would be for key worker housing, for build to rent and shared equity so that people can get on the property ladder as well.
Something that matters a great deal to a lot of Aucklanders is the Hauraki Gulf. What could you do to help protect the Hauraki Gulf?
Oh, look, I'm a huge advocate for the Hauraki Gulf. I was on the Waiheke Marine project myself, and we know that there is funding in there at the moment to address the issues around the Hauraki Gulf. I've also been on the Hauraki Gulf Forum. So I think we need to continue to work with central government and make sure that we prioritise the Hauraki Gulf and the protection of the Hauraki Gulf going forward.
So, when it comes to living on this island, Waiheke Island, there's a big issue for everybody here when it comes to the cost of the ferries. And what would you do about the ferries and the way that impacts everybody on this island?
So if we had the resources to obviously buy Fuller's ferries, I think that would be great for council to do that and to bring that in-house and to look at what's affordable for Aucklanders to be able to come over here, because we know that's a huge cost at the moment and that has been a very long-term issue for Waihikians.
Now, the city's experienced a sudden and explosive increase in homelessness, and with a large number of people now unsheltered and struggling to access support services. What steps could you take to help with that problem?
Yeah, we actually were at an event the other night where we talked about homelessness, myself and Wayne Brown, and the question was put to us around whether we would support increasing the budget on homelessness to 2 million. Now, there's currently 500,000 that's put towards homelessness at the moment, and I would work very hard to try and increase that budget to address the issue, and obviously work with central government to address it as well. I've been very visible in that space, and we've had a number of marches on homelessness. Wayne Brown just hasn't been seen on any of those topics or issues, and he actually said that he wasn't going to commit to increasing the budget on that, which I think is, if you want to be the leader of the biggest city in our country, and we know that homelessness has more than doubled, we should actually be advocating for homelessness and how we're going to address that. So that's definitely a key priority for me, is to have an open dashboard as well to Aucklanders to show how we are bringing that number down, because we need to definitely prioritise that issue.
Now, Wayne Brown, he made a lot of promises before the previous elections to particularly the Pacific peoples and people in South Auckland. There were all sorts of promises,
Yeah.
but a lot of those promises haven't been kept. And you're Maori, and what can you do for Maori and Pacific peoples that isn't being done to help?
So I know that a lot of Māori are not happy with the fact that he didn't vote in support of the Māori wards. He abstained on that vote, and there is actually a very strong campaign that's going around Auckland at the moment to vote for those councillors who did actually support the Māori wards. And I'm getting a lot of people messaging me and telling me that they're going to vote for me because I supported Māori wards, and that's what I will be doing if I do become mayor. So I'll be advocating for that. In terms of Pacifica, I mean, it's really, I think, disgraceful to see that he pinpointed two Pacifica councillors in Manukau, Councillor Alfila Painga and Councillor Lotu Fully, and said that they were lazy and not attending meetings. And that's not good, to actually be standing people against them as well, which has never been done by any other mayor, to actually stand their own ticket as an independent against South Pacifica. And then the feedback that I'm hearing is that he's made a lot of promises out to the Pacifica community and to the ethnic community and hasn't delivered on them, hasn't been back out to see them, hasn't even gone to visit. No one has seen Wayne Brown for 3 years. He just has not been visible across the whole city. And yes, he's getting a lot of media time, but he's not actually out there in the communities listening to what people's concerns are. Even with the rates hike that's happened in Rodney, they've had that 20% rates hike. And what they said to me was that he didn't even come out and see them. And when he did, he just told them they better get used to it. Now, that's not the leadership that our city needs. They need to have confidence in the person who is going to be the leader of Auckland, and is going to take all the councillors with them and the city with them on that journey of leadership.
You just mentioned leadership and your leadership style and I guess participation. I've seen you pitch up to events that are about drawing attention to the plight of youth and homelessness. I've seen you be there on a Saturday and speak to people about what's happening in the unfolding genocide in Gaza. But I did not see Wayne Brown at any of these events. Wayne's also been pretty invisible in this campaign when it comes to the debates. I think everybody kind of knows that he's not been there, but we are seeing him cut ribbons, and appearing with politicians from central government when he's doing things like reforming AT. But what's actually happened in this election so far with these public democratic debates, and how is your leadership style very, very different from his?
So we've had 15 opportunities to either attend a debate or meet the candidates. And he's only turned up to 4 of those out of 15. And I think that's appalling, behaviour from someone who is the sitting mayor of the city, who's being paid $300,000 to represent Aucklanders. And all of us are going through the process of having a job interview, basically, by all of these community groups across Auckland. And a lot of them have just been disappointed that he hasn't even shown up. So yes, he's taking every opportunity to cut ribbons and use the media to his advantage. But, I'm clear that that isn't actually reflected in the voting numbers, because the voting numbers where he would normally have a high voter turnout, like Orake, like Rodney, are not getting out by the droves and voting for him, because we're watching, we're watching the breakdown of numbers. And I think Orake is definitely under 10% at the moment. They usually have an 18% voter turnout. So my view is even though he did his poll saying that he was polling at 50%, he'd have 180,000 people voting for him by now if that was correct. But I don't believe that's the case. In terms of his visibility, so many people have said to me, he just has not been visible on those big issues like homelessness, like the Gaza, as you said, genocide, all of those areas. He just does not have an interest. He's focused on working with the businesses. He's going to his house up north every weekend. All of my family up north see him at the markets at Kaitaia. And he even has told media that he'll open another 4 businesses because he sees it as a part-time job. I mean, how can we actually elect someone that does not take the job seriously? But that is up to voters if they feel that that's the right thing for them. Obviously, I've been out on the ground and visible as a councillor and as a mayoral candidate who actually cares about all of Aucklanders.
So could you tell Aucklanders directly to camera now what your vision is for Auckland in the future, and what are the 2 or 3 main things that you will do to fix things up for Aucklanders?
Yes, okay. So my vision is for Auckland to have a livable city, for us to have the best transport, the best housing, and to address the homelessness that we have, to also make sure that we're prioritising our Hauraki Gulf, all of our waterways, to have swimmable beaches. What I will do to fix things up is make sure that I work with local government to prioritise our infrastructure. I will also keep rates low in that second year and bring the rates down to the rate of inflation, and I will protect our strategic assets. Those are the key areas that I'm focusing on my campaign, and giving young people the opportunity to get into work with work experience, because we know so many young people are leaving our city right now because they don't feel that our current leader has a vision for the future of our city. We need to bring that vision back to Aucklanders and make you feel like this is actually the top city that you want to be living in. So we really hope that you get out and vote. I would love your vote, but I'm just encouraging everyone to vote for this year's election.
Thank you very much, Kerrin. So that was Kerrin Leoni, who is standing for Mayor in Auckland. And as you know, voting is already underway, and it's really important that you do vote. Get out there and make sure you cast your vote in the mayoral and election, and for local boards and for district councillors before the 11th of October when voting closes. Thank you very much for joining us for this mayoral candidate interview in the local body elections in New Zealand in 2025, and I'll talk to you all again soon.
Welcome to G News, the good news.
Yeah, right.